Welcome everyone to Wonders of Magic. We are here at the Warner Brothers studio right behind me. We're going to be doing the studio tour today. We heard there's a lot of new additions and a lot of new updates. So let's get inside and check it out. Come with us on Finding the Magic. Here we just got to the Warner Brothers Studio Park. It says the parking is $15. I thought it was included with our ticket, but we'll find out right now and see if it's an additional price. So it is actually not included in your ticket, and you cannot do it ahead of time. You have to pay when you arrive. So the prices may change, but right now it's $15 to park your car here at the studio. This is so cool. One of the first things we seen when we walk in is Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. We also got the Warner Brothers backdrop in the background. This is so cool. Here we are, one of the first tour areas, which is going to be the history on the Warner family, which is really cool. You see all the old photos of the Warner Studios, the movies and the productions. Look at all the old cars. Here's a lot of the famous movies that they produce. We have Rebel Without a Cause, of course, with James Dean, a classic. And then also they did do Dirty Harry with the famous Clint Eastwood. And right here we have a tribute to the Warner Brothers animation department. We have Tiny Toon Adventures, also Looney Tunes. I don't know if any of you remember the Animaniacs, which is one of my favorites as a kid. We also have Batman and Scooby-Doo. There's many others. We'll probably see them on the tour. Let's go check them out. They have this really neat water tower in the middle of the first room. See, this studio is called Stage 16. It's got the Warner Brothers logo right there. It's got the access door. It's pretty cool. This is gonna be the first room you enter right before you start the tour. Alongside of the water tower, they have a lot of mini studios. They look pretty cool. You can stand here, take a picture. They don't want anybody sitting on them, but they look realistic.
These are sweet legs inside of the cart. Also, it is a busy day on the lot. I will give you a heads up. There's lots of things filming. So there might be a few times I ask you to put your phone away, cameras, videos, but I will give you a warning ahead of time, don't worry. But it is a Thursday, busy day. I've seen quite a lot of production going on. There's a few places restricted, but we will still see lots of fun stuff, I promise. Okay, this is just some of our behind the scenes backlot. We have a backlot and we have a front lot. Backlot is where our backlots are. The front lots are where our sound stages are. So those big tan buildings that are on every studio, that's where ours are housed. We'll head over there in a little bit, but first we're gonna head into our Warner Village backlot. So this was established in 2004. It used to be the western town of Laramie for western shows like Cheyenne and Maverick. Then we tore that down after Will Smith got good use out of it for the Wild Wild West music video in 1999. We tore that down and we're like, all right, no one's filming westerns anymore. What should we do here, people? And production was like, suburban neighborhood. And so we built a suburban neighborhood for them. You see this has a curve to it so that it looks like it goes on forever. You can't see that there's an office building at the end of the road. But speaking of office buildings, each one of these buildings are office buildings. They're functioning offices inside. There's a back entrance on each one so that production can get their work done during the day if we're filming on this street. Or at the fronts of the houses, you'll see all these cars. These are all people at work currently in the different houses. Number 187 is our most popular house on the street. We like it for its big lawn and its big walkway leading up to the front door so that the characters have a lot of room to set the scene. They could be holding a present, walking up there, saying, oh, we're going to Jennifer's house or Jennifer's party, instead of just all of a sudden appearing inside the home. So 187 is most popular. It was in the Muppets with Jason Segel. It was a trick-or-treating scene on Halloween, a throwback scene. It's also Hannah's house on Pretty Little Liars. And it's currently Bob's house in Bob Hart's Abishola, one of our current shows here on the lot. Ahead of us is what we call the bridge building. It has this bridge function in front of us, but it can be turned into anything. We film on all the different kinds of buildings here on the lot. So for example, where these green squares are, if we put up some letters that say Medical Plaza, all of a sudden this looks like a hospital.
It does.
You have actors walking around in scrubs with stethoscopes around their necks, things like that. It totally will sell as a hospital.
It does.
It can also be a train station or a bus station. It has that industrial feel like in Gilmore Girls. Rory walks out of these double doors to our right, and above it, it says New York City Bus Station when she goes to visit Jess in New York City. It was also a restaurant in the West Wing, 30 Hours in California. They had this side on the inside as a restaurant, and they were at a restaurant in there to the left. You also see those like low profile airport style chairs to the left and to the right. That can be as an airport terminal, especially that coffee bean there. It is a real coffee bean, but it can be really useful for airport terminal scenes, things like that. Very busy day on the lot. It is the productions world, and we're just driving through it. Honestly, we just have to be on our toes, let them get to where they need to go, because they have call times and set times that they have places that they need to be. For sure. So as we drive up Avon Street, I'll go ahead and play a little video about the history of Warner Brothers.
The great story of Warner Brothers is just as compelling as those of the films we've made, and it starts with 4 brothers. The Warners were Polish immigrants who moved to the United States in pursuit of the American dream. Starting as film exhibitioners on the East Coast, they left their home behind and headed west to begin making their own films. Once there, they took a big risk and invested in sound pictures. The Jazz Singer, released in 1927, was the first talking motion picture and innovated the entire film industry. Generations later, this studio remains home to a growing family of artists, technicians, and visionaries who share the Warner Brothers passion for entertaining us all. And behind these gates, the story continues.
So when you hear Warner Brothers, it kind of just sounds like a company name. You don't really put it together that there were actual 4 Warner Brothers, Harry, Albert, Sam, and Jack. They each, on their own time, developed a love for film. Like, it wasn't like they all got together and were like, hey, I like movies, and the other one was like, I guess I can like movies too. They all separately were like, we love the film industry and we love motion pictures. And when they realized that they all had that same love for it, then they were like, okay, let's do something with this. We're brothers, we're starting out fresh here in America. We have this interest that we think is the future. And boy, were they right. They were the innovators of the film industry, that is for sure. You'll notice to our right, it's this empty parking lot. We call it Lot H. You'll see a Star Wagon there. This a lot of times will be what we call a base camp. You'll see those big production trucks to our right. It's New Line Cinema. That's where all of our horror movies are created, like The Conjuring and Annabelle and Elf. If you think Elf is scary, Elf is New Line. Look who's here, Jabari. My goodness gracious. Well, we'll take his spot and we'll talk about these weird things to our right. When I first was on the lot, I was like, oh cool, a jail set, like an old jail set from Clint Eastwood or something. So they're actually film vaults. So we used to film on highly flammable film. It was made of nitrate, and one spark could like blow up this block of Burbank. So we had to build these vaults to store the film in on all of our old movies, like that talkie they were talking about, The Jazz Singer. So they're each rigged with their own sprinkler system, so they didn't ruin the whole rest of the library if one did catch on fire. Now all of those old ones are stored underground in Kansas in salt mines, because if Kansas blows up, it won't be as detrimental as if Burbank blows up. Is there anyone from Kansas on the card? Yeah, Kansas! So, yeah, right now they're basically just storage for office supplies and things like that. We don't really store our film in there anymore because, again, stored in Kansas. We'll have Kansas deal with it. This lot, I know Space Jam: A New Legacy is coming out like I think today or yesterday. So that was filmed here on the lot, and when LeBron James was filming, and in between takes, what did he want to do? Play basketball, duh, that's all he does. So we set up a big practice court in this lot. So in between takes, he would come out here and play basketball. Some production would come out and play with him too. He was really cool about it.
Awesome. Oh, cool.
To our right, it says building number 5 down there. It might look kind of boring. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, I'm building, cool, whatever. It's actually James Dean's apartment when he lived here on the lot. Wow. So he was contracted to film 3 movies with us: East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, and Giant. And he was a little bit of a bad boy, if you don't know his reputation. He liked to, race cars, and he liked to just party a little bit. So Jack Warner, one of the founders, did not like that. So he moved here onto the lot to keep an eye on him, and right across from that apartment building was Jack Warner's offices. So he literally had it right under his nose. If you're contracted to film 3 films with us, you better believe you're going to finish all 3 of those films. To our right, building number 95 was Frank Sinatra's production offices. His company called Artanis, which is Sinatra spelled backwards. That was where he did some of his movies, some of his Rat Pack stuff with his Rat Pack buddies. And also right next to it, with these Spanish tiles on top, some of that building is the original building for Marion Davies' wardrobe. So there was an actress named Marion Davies in that golden age, and usually back then they would be contracted within a specific studio, like James Dean was contracted with Warner Brothers. She didn't have a contract, she kind of did whatever she wanted, and because of that, she would move her wardrobe wherever she wanted to. So with each studio she moved to, she would literally rebuild the wardrobe on the new studio grounds. So part of that building was some of her original wardrobe. It used to be filled with water. We drained it in 1971. Look at that. What is he even stopping for? What's even near here? Anyway, our water tower, we drained it in 1971. If anyone's local, you know that we have earthquakes, and even the small ones will create the weirdest damage. Like, it's like a little 2-point something, and all of a sudden there's this weird crack on the side of the building. And you're like, oh, I've never even felt it. So with each little earthquake, the legs would buckle a little bit, and so we were like, let's just drain it now. Go get ahead of the game. So yeah, drained in 71, but let's pass them up. Sorry. How you doing? Alright, so we're going to perk up here and we will get out and walk around here, so don't worry if you're like, oh, we're missing stuff, I promise. We'll get out and walk. Let's see, where are we showing? Let's go here. I know it's a hot one, we'll try to stay in the shade as much as we can, but our New York backlot is one of our cooler ones. You'll see a lot of production set up as we make this turn. So that is set up for a new show called Shining Veil. Also Radley Sanitarium and Pretty Little Liars. Also in the show Pushing Daisies, this was the morgue. They had this painted in bright pink, green, yellow colors. So if we'll go follow me this way towards our New York Street backlot. Wigwags, that means filming is happening. Please don't ruin our tape. For my Friends fans, this brick building right here is where Ross gets water balloons dropped down onto his head by his younger girlfriend. Also, this black building was in the classic The Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart. It was a bookstore in that film, and it's also currently dressed as a bookstore. When I say the term dressed, that means that the production design team has transformed it into just something rather than a plain building. So they added painting on it, or they'll put stuff in the windows to make it look like it's actually being used. That's when I say the word dressed. So we come down here, this was most recently dressed as Beverly Hills for our show All American. So it is New York Street, but you can transform it into Beverly Hills by dressing these windows with designer handbags, designer shoes. You can have a sign that says Beverly Hills PD. So it really, in your brain, will put it together that, oh, we're in Beverly Hills, but we're just on our New York Street backlot. So also have fancy cars parked along here, things like that. Also, these metal grates on the ground can be taken out and do a stairway that leads down to nowhere. There's a character who needs to go on the subway. This is our subway.
Oh, wow.
A sign that gets put up that says, 10th Street to Brooklyn or whatever.
That is cool. Stairway down there.
You can run down those. There is a stairway under.
That is awesome.
If there's any fans of The Mask with Jim Carrey, this is where Jim Carrey as Cuban Pete did his dance right here, and all the cops start dancing with him.
Oh, wow. No way.
This building wait, the bar is first. So we're going to take a look at this monitor on this wall. It's going to give you a good visual of what New York Street can really turn into.
Humphrey Bogart walked along New York Street as Detective Sam Spade in the classic film The Maltese Falcon. His apartment in that movie is just around the corner. New York Street was also the starting line for the great race from New York to Paris, Blake Edwards' comedy. In fact, the whole street was shot from different directions and became all of New York for that movie. Hard to believe, but this same street was turned into a futuristic Los Angeles for Ridley Scott's science fiction classic Blade Runner. The streets were filled with futuristic cars, shops, and neon signs. And when you strip away all of that set dressing, the transformation is almost unbelievable. This is the same spot where Sheldon stole a copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark and was chased by an angry group of friends in the hit sitcom Big Bang Theory.
Why is there never a fountain playing when you need one?
More recently, these streets were turned into the Burbank studios for the Academy Award-winning motion picture Argo. Director Ben Affleck filmed scenes all over the lot, including this one, which took place at the end of the street, on the courthouse steps.
So yeah, that courthouse right outside those windows there, it was also Commissioner Gordon's office in the 1960s Batman series.
Ooh, wow.
So if you want to follow me out here, there's a good photo op around this corner. Careful as we cross the street. This is one of my favorite spots to take photos. This is with our Stephen J. Ross Theater and our water shower right there. So
That is
feel free to
cool.
take photos here, and then we'll head around the corner and look at our Brownstone Street backlot. Brownstone is older than Warner Brothers itself. When we purchased the lot from First National Pictures in 1928, this was the only backlot that was on here. It's very New York style, East Coast, classic Brownstone style stoop. We don't have any of that here in Southern California, so lots of our shows that take place on the East Coast, like Friends, The West Wing, places like that will really utilize our Brownstone Street. A couple notable things: the second house or second stoop in with the gray columns, that was Wonder Woman's apartment in the original 70s TV series Wonder Woman with Carter. It was also Josh Lyman's apartment in the West Wing. A couple of Foster's scenes were filmed down here, and for Friends, the scene where Rachel and Ross are looking for Marcel, and Rachel picks the parking sign, hurts her foot. That was up and down Brownstone here. So the thing about Brownstone, it seems kind of short. So the characters walking for a long time. You're like, they walk forever, but it's literally just right there.
Oh,
so
wow.
to combat that, the actors will start here, and it'll be dressed a certain way, meaning there's certain actors sitting on the stoops, background actors, there's certain people walking by, that in each take that they do, those same people will be in those same spots. And when they get to the end of the street, the director will yell cut, and they'll bring the actors back to the beginning, but they'll change out the things that they walked by. So they might add a hot dog cart every time they walk by, or they might take away a mailbox, or they might take away a newspaper stand, or add a newspaper stand, change the hat of one of the background actors, change the shirt. They'll have that all dressed, and then they'll yell action again, and the actors will continue the same scene from the same spot, and your brain is like, oh, I didn't see that last time, so I'll just see on this street. They just keep going up and down Brownstone Street. So we'll walk down it and get some pictures on the stoops, things like that.
They found Marcelino. Or they were looking for Marcelino.
I know, but Rocky.
Oh, you did.
Wow, looks like New York. All these brownstones. So cool. This is all made to look like New York. They have all the actors sit around. Go as far as adding parking meters, throwing gum on the floor, trash, to make it look authentically like New York City. Very cool. Oh, it's not real brick.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. That is plastic.
Right, yeah. So it's usually a substance called styrene.
Styrene. Oh, okay.
Yeah, most brick that you see on the lot is not what it appears to be.
Is that how all the facades are?
Yeah, Yeah,
Oh,
for
okay.
the most part, it's usually like a thin styrene that they mold to look like real buildings.
Tower to say the Burbank Studios on there instead of having the WB. That way it would be.
This marquee theater right here is where Joey had his movie premiere. He brings Chandler, and Chandler falls asleep.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
Look at me.
It's an old theater.
This was also the classic Betty Davis film, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. This was the theater they used. And in the Judy Garland A Star is Born, this was where the movie premiered.
Look at this alley.
This is where that Big Bang Theory scene was.
Oh,
Sheldon
okay.
runs out of this theater right here. I say theater because the outside looks like theater. The inside you can see is just a wall. This is what we call a facade, where the inside is not what the outside appears to be.
It's like a 90s dry cleaners? That's crazy. That is so cool.
Behind me is Chicago. So Chicago's known for
Chicago.
that L train, elevated train.
Ah, that's
Business
right.
office for ER, which took place in Chicago with George Clooney. It looks pretty legit. Looks like
It
it can really
does.
hold a train. It's pretty much just thin sheet metal, plastic, styrofoam. It could not support a real
No.
train. I don't even know if it could support me. Those rivets and nuts and bolts are all resin. So just not what it appears to be. We have a whole department that just makes things look old. It's called the agers and distressors. So they come in and add all the rust, make it look authentic. We'll cross the street this way. Batman fans, Tim Burton's Batman Returns. This bluish gray building was where Danny DeVito as the Penguin is searching for his real name.
No way.
He's
That's where
looking
that's
and he
at?
discovers it's
Wow.
Oswald Cobblepot. That's right, in this bluish building. The Batmobile even comes around the corner right here. It's hard to tell. It's kind of a quicker
Wow.
scene, but that was this bluish gray building.
That is
Those two
cool.
red doors were also the ambulance bay for County General Hospital in ER. And if there's any Shameless fans, this is Patsy's Pies. This is where Fiona works in Shameless. Follow me in here.
Shameless.
Who works here? Fiona Gallagher.
Fiona for Patsy's Pies.
So this is what we would call a practical set. So different from a facade where you wouldn't just walk through the door and hit a wall. You can walk through the door and this is an actual building with bones and walls and so practical, we can bring the cast and crew inside here and actually film the scene instead of our sound stages. You'll notice most practicals have these big windows. It's because we'll film in a practical when we want the outside to be known. So in Shameless, you want Chicago to be seen in the background, and you can see a character walking up to the restaurant as if it's pivotal in the scene, and before one of the characters realizes that, oh no, Jack is walking in, it's stressful, you see him walking up, and the viewer is like, oh my gosh, doesn't see that Jack's walking in, things like that. Certain car driving by, you want a car crash, all of that can be seen out the windows if you're filming in this practical. And all this is temporary. You can dig up the floors, add whatever you want, change the walls. We just ask that whatever you do, you put it back to how you found it. That's our one rule here on the lot. So you could crash a car through the window, which has happened to many of our practical sets. Just crash a car right through it. Just put it back how you found it. With Greg Kinnear. So yeah, Friends fans, Courtney Cox. She has a new show called Shining Veil coming out. It is a horror comedy show. It's about a family that moves from the city and moves into a haunted house. It seems pretty interesting. She's taken over many of our backlots, so I'm excited to watch it because it's always fun to be like, oh, I know where that is. And now you can too. That area area is closed down there for Shiningvale, but you'll see a blue building that says Musadi's down on the corner there. I would like to point that out because it is the last remaining set of Casablanca. So I always think that that's cool to see. Don't want you to miss it, even though it's closed over there. Now entering our front lot. Our front lot is home to our 32 sound stages. Not 13 because 13 was too scary and nobody would film in it. See, I thought it was haunted. So stage 24, you'll notice to your right, there's a plaque next to it, the Friends stage. So stage 24 was home to Friends during its time here on the lot. Sometimes sound stages will get a special plaque like that next to it when a series has filmed there for over 10 years or over 10 seasons, whatever comes first. So stage 24 is the Friends stage. Did you get good photos?
Yes.
Stage 25, the Big Bang Theory stage to our left.
Oh, wow, Big Bang Theory. Awesome. It says right there, Big Bang Theory.
It's fun to picture the actors going in and out of that door when they're filming. Most TV shows film on a 5-day work week, so the actors can be there anywhere from just filming days, which are usually the filming days are 1 day a week, or for sitcoms it's usually on a Friday. You kind of get to pick which 5 days, so sometimes the filming day could be on a Sunday. Everything just depends. This is a 2.5 men's stage to our left, and you'll also notice a bigger plaque to its right. So this also lists other things that have filmed inside the sound stage. They don't quite deserve their own plaque, but they definitely deserve a little piece on the bigger plaque. It's fun to see which ones, that you didn't even realize. Annabelle Creation, Gremlins. Those are all over the lot, so anytime you see one of those bigger ones, take a closer look. Protect yourself! Thank you. So I'm going to play a video for you about the mill.
The metal shop is where anything made from steel, aluminum, or tin is constructed. The staff department contains over 60,000 architectural molds and is where we use fake brick, rock, and stone walls for film and television. The design studio underneath us has large-scale printers that allow us to print billboards for marketing and backdrops for production, while graphic artists design signs and imagery here. On an average day, there are 2 to 300 people here at the mill.
So yeah, very noisy. Noise, saws, buzzing, and things like that. It's kind of sectioned off into a grid system, so each production has its own piece of the pie. Every time I drive through here, even different points of the day, and of course you can take photos here, don't worry. Different times of the day, there's different things in here, different things that they're building. Sometimes as the day goes on, I'll see something get worked on and it changes over the course of the day. Even to our left, there's the subway system to our left. I think that is maybe for Shiningvale, I'm not sure, but my New York people, it probably feels like home. We have a gas station to our left. It only has biodiesel fuel, so wouldn't do much for my little hybrid car, but for the big transportation trucks, that's where they will fill up for the day. Makes things a lot easier than having to stop at the gas station. If they're tight on time in Hollywood, everything is very much arrive at this time. If you're late, it messes the whole day up. But also in that same fold, it is a lot of hurry up and wait. So they'll say, get here, get here, get here. You're gonna mess the whole day up. But then you get there and you sit there for 6 hours and wait for someone to tell you what to do. So it's a gamble. We do have a fire department here on the lot. They respond to calls on and off the lot if it's in the immediate area. Very grateful to have them here. Close up, you can
The Ellen Show. Cool. This is a lot of other.
So head on through that second door and I'll meet you right there. We're gonna head into Ellen's refresh room. We'll go this way.
Here we are in the Ellen stage. Wow. This is where they film the Ellen Show. This is awesome. And there would be the skybox where you have also other visitors watching. And then look at all the lighting. A lot of lighting in here. So this is going to be Alan's last season for her show, at least for here at Warner Brothers.
He filmed in 15 all of his time here on the lot. You also notice it's the only soundstage with windows. It used to be our art department, so we needed lots of light to do shadows and paintings and things like that. But they also served as Conan's offices right next to his stage. They're just normal office buildings. Maybe if a new show moves in there, they'll utilize those. Everything's always changing. It's always changing here on the lot. I'll say one thing and the next day they'll be like, nope, new thing. As we pass stage 16, you'll notice these big support beams sticking out the ends of them. I'll go ahead and play a video to explain that a little bit.
Stage 16 became the tallest stage in North America in 1936 while filming Cain and Mabel, starring Clark Gable and Marion Davies. Davies felt the stage should be taller to fit more elaborate sets. Workers painstakingly raised the stage 30 feet off the ground with hand cranks to reach its current height of 98 feet, instead of adding the height to the top of the stage. This allowed Cain and Mabel to resume production much faster. Since its completion, this stage has housed some incredibly large sets for memorable films, like the park for the Shapoopy dance sequence in The Music Man, the Dragons Rebel Without a Cause,
Oh wow, that was in there?
the Riverboat Poker Tournament in Maverick, and the grand finale of The Goonies. Stage 16 houses a giant water tank underneath its floorboards that allows the stage to be filled with millions of gallons of water.
So yeah, that water tank adds that extra 33 feet on the bottom, making it the tallest stage in North America. Ahead of us is Mount Lee, that mountain you see. On the other side of Mount Lee is the Hollywood sign. So we are literally in Hollywood's backyard here on the Warner Brothers lot.
That's cool.
We're also going to pass stage 23 again. I ask that you don't change stage 48. This is the end of the guided portion of the tour. You will explore stage 48 on your own time. This is where Central Perk will be, so don't worry, Friends fans. I did not skip over Central Perk. It will be in this building. There's also some Big Bang Theory costumes, some of our older costumes, lots of interactive stuff. This is where you can film yourself on a broom for Harry Potter. There's also a bat bike in there that you can film green screen on. And then if you do get food and drink at Central Perk, we ask that you finish it before hopping back on the next cart, because in the next exhibit there is no food or drink. So if you do, make sure to finish it in there. Other than that, enjoy. Wait till I pull up here and then you can hop out. Watch your head and step. You were great. Have fun in stage 48.
Thank you.
And the rest of your day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
There's the first portion of the tour. Let's go in for the other half. Here we are on the self-guided portion of the tour. We're gonna grab something to eat. There's a little cafe there. Looks like some stuff was filmed here, but we're gonna show you guys inside and then grab something to eat. Paying tribute to the films that they did make Friday. Selena. We got Beetlejuice as well, which is one of my favorite movies. And then Kong vs. Godzilla, or Godzilla vs. Kong, the new one in 2021. This is a great movie. I did not know that they were the makers of this film. Argo, Steve Urkel, Blade Runner. And then, of course, cannot forget the James Dean Rebel Without a Cause. You have Aquaman as well. Lots of good films here. And here we are in the Friends section. Look at how cool this is. Here we have a really cool photo op for Friends. This is so awesome. Very cool. A lot of this stuff will look familiar to all of you, but you can take photos here at Warner Brothers in the Friends coffee shop. All right, here we made it to the classic portion of the tour. This is all my favorite the vintage 1940s, 1930s gangster films, as you can see here. This is so awesome. They got the period correct suits with the hats. This is my personal favorite time era fashion. This is actually real wardrobes worn in old 1940s and 1950s films. Beautiful, beautiful wardrobes. And here we're passing through the wardrobe for Big Bang Theory. These look very familiar. You have Farrah's outfit as well. This will look very familiar. If you watch the show, you'll know exactly who these characters are without even seeing their faces, just because obviously these are mannequins, but these were their outfits. Here we have a really cool Big Bang Theory photo op. Usually people will take the books and just hang out and take photos. All of you Big Bang Theory fans will recognize this for sure as the apartment. This is a really cool photo op that they have here. All the books and collectibles that they did have, this is all from the show. This is a really small area, but it appears to be a big apartment, but it's just one piece to this room. As you can see, it extends to many others, but very cool. We have both apartments, 4A and 4B, and you can see the stairway leading up the way. Of course, it's a dead end, but it appears to be real. And you got the out of order elevator. Very cool. You can see up there, this is the actual scene from the show. You can see the fake backdrops with the out of order elevator, and that would be this scene right here. Really nice. And they also take photos for you through the camera just right up there. Example of the forced perspective photo op that they have here. There's a table, there's a small one, and then a taller one that appears a little bit closer. One's a lot smaller, but it's all the view of perspective. Take a look at that. He is a giant and he is small. As you can see, they're about the same height, sitting in the same spot, but he appears to be as the giant. That is very cool.
Thank you so much.
So here to the next photo ops, they have a really cool Batman and Harry Potter photo and video exhibit. And you jump right on, take some really cool photo and video. They also have a Harry Potter one. You can see he's swinging around right now. But you'll appear flying on a broomstick, which is really cool. So here we are at the Central Perk Cafe. This is where the first tour is gonna end. It's gonna take you to this nice little cafeteria where they do have pizza. They also have hot dogs and sandwiches. We'll go ahead and show you the menu right now. So here they only have these bottled drinks available. There is no fountain drinks, but a lot of pastries. They do have some brownies, some cookies as well. They have a personal pepperoni or cheese pizza. They also have a pizza wedge, but we opted out for the regular pizza. We're gonna try that out. And then they have some hot dogs and then sandwiches as well. Definitely come by and check it out if you are gonna come to the Warner Brothers studio. All right, so here we got our pizza. Eric got his pizza too. We got the same thing, pepperoni. It looks good. You also got a drink. It's like, what is it? Espresso?
They call it the Chandler.
The Chandler. Oh, so it's Friends themed.
Yeah, it's Friends.
Oh, okay, cool. And then I got a bottled Coke, which is kind of cool. They have bottled Coke, the glass bottle, which is my favorite. So you got that real sugar cane. But we're gonna try our pizza right now. They did put a little bit of sauce. There's not a lot of marinara sauce. It has a lot of cheese, which I like, but it definitely needs a lot more marinara sauce. So if you do get the pizza, ask for extra sauce if you can, because there wasn't a lot of sauce. You can see it's pretty dry, but the cheese is still good. The dough is really good. The crust will be amazing, I can already tell. The crust is really good. There's just not a lot of sauce on there. So definitely recommend asking for more sauce. I definitely recommend asking for more sauce because it's pretty dry. They have a lot of Central Perk merch. You can see they have these neon lights. They have coffee mugs. They also have hats and shirts. These are pretty cool. They have really cool photo backdrops, also more shirts, and then also a foosball table, just like in the show. You have some costumes that Jennifer and David wore on the show. Also a photo backdrop of the outside of their apartment window. More props and merchandise all around. They did a really good job with the store. Here's a big overview of the store. It's kind of got the apartment themed all around. It has tons of Friends merch. So much to look at. From anywhere from patches to socks to buttons to phone cases. Anything and everything of Friends, which is really neat for all the Friends fans. All right, we're gonna start doing our second part of the tour, and then we'll finish up at the front. We are entering the DC and Harry Potter universe here at Warner Brothers. We have Wonder Woman, we have Aquaman, which is one of my favorites, and Harry Potter, of course. Super cool. All right, so here we've entered the DC portion of the tour. We have the original Harley Quinn costume that was used in the film. How cool is this? I can't believe we're actually this close to the fit. Look at those shoes. That is awesome. We also have the Joker costume that he used in the Suicide Squad film as well. The pair together looks so cool. One of my favorite pieces of this is the Arkham Asylum gate. I'm not sure if it's real cast iron. It might be made of plastic, but it's still very cool looking. This one was actually used in the Arkham Asylum gates in 1995, Batman Forever. And if you want to throw it back to the older Batman, we have the Iceman, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Look at the outfit. How detailed is this? Very, very cool. Never thought I would ever see this in person. You can see this is all not metal. Some of it is actually foil. And so, of course, in the film, it's going to appear to be a lot heavier, a lot metal. But here, this is Hollywood magic, where they make everything a little bit lighter and a little more cost-effective. And of course, can't forget Poison Ivy. They actually got her face really well, which is Uma Thurman. She played the character Poison Ivy in Batman 1997. This is her outfit. You can see it has all the ivy. Really cool to see it up close. Here we have the wonderful Wonder Woman costume. Look at the details on this. Up close, this is awesome. Then you also have the golden armor version, which has a really neat helmet. Check this out. Very, very cool. And check this one out, guys. The Tumbler, also known as the Batmobile, for the 2008 Dark Knight film. This is awesome. I've never thought I would see this one in person. I'm so glad it's here at the studio tour. This is my favorite Batmobile, or I should say Tumbler. It was used in any Batman film. And here we do have the full wardrobe for the DC lineup in Justice League. You can see we have the Aquaman. We also have the Wonder Woman, the Batman. This looks really cool. And here we have the newest character of the bunch, Shazam. This is actually released in 2019, and this is the actual wardrobe that was used on the film. So if you have seen Aquaman, this piece will definitely look familiar to you. This is the part where she actually pulls the sweat particles from his forehead and pours it down the middle. That activates the water to flow down and open up the portal for him to get the map to find out where he needs to go to find the trident. This is such a cool scene. I'm glad they put this here. I love seeing this in person. All right, so now we've entered the Batcave portion of the tour. You can see we have the Batmobile from 1989. This is awesome. This is probably the biggest one they have here. Definitely really cool and exaggerated. I never knew they actually had this one here, but look at that exhaust way at the side. So exaggerated, very, very cool. I remember seeing this as a kid on the film and getting the McDonald's toys. And here, smack dead in the middle of the Batcave, is the Batpod that was actually used in Dark Knight. This thing is awesome. Here we have a very detailed portion of the Batcave. This is pretty much Bruce Wayne's lair. This is where he does all his research, does all his intel. This is a really cool portion of the Batcave, as you can take pictures behind this. You can actually come here, mess with the keyboard. You'll see this prop used in The Dark Knight Rises. This is when he's doing some research on, I believe it's the Joker. And here at the very end of the Batcave, you'll notice the weapons and Batsuit case. Really cool to see this all together, just like in the movie. Also displayed right next to it is the Bat throwing stars, all the cables and all the props that were used in the movie. Here we have the Superman 3 1983 costume. Also, you want to go back to the Michael Keaton Batman. This is from my childhood, 1989. This is so different from the Batman you're seeing today, but still very cool looking. Here we have a potions and spell corner. You can see all the materials used for the spells. This is so cool. All these are interacting and they will move. You just have to pay attention. This is where you can make a potion or a spell, and you just have to use the key ingredients here. Add 1 Besnar. Here's the Besnar. Add a dash of standard ingredient. Here we have the standard ingredient. Okay. The next one is add powdered unicorn. There's the powdered unicorn. And then the last one is add the mistletoe berries. There's the mistletoe berries. And then we should have it brewing. Touch the ingredient label to add the cauldron. I don't see that. Oh, there we go. Touch the wand below to stir. And there it is. That is awesome. All right, so that's how you make a potion. That was really neat. Here we have a photo op from the fireplace scene in Harry Potter. You have all the letters flying around. It's pretty neat. You stand in the middle and it looks like all the papers are circling around you. We'll show you what it looks like right now. That is very cool. Just like in the movie. All right, so here we have the staircase. Underneath is gonna be Harry Potter's little cupboard room. We get all his items that were in the movie. You see some paints as well, nails, stuff that was stored away. And then you have his bed where he would sleep. Pretty neat. Just like in the film. I cannot imagine sleeping in a small space like this. But very, very cool. You got all his, actually have his little figurines as well too. You have his little army man. He has a little apple, and there's his shirt. And then it looks like a Beanie Baby as well. I remember those back in the day when they used to sell those with Happy Meals and whatnot. But also within the mix with his toys, you have a lot of tools, stuff you would usually find here in the cupboard. But this is where he slept, in his bed. Right underneath the stairs. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today here from the Warner Brothers Studio Tour. I highly recommend it. We did enjoy our full tour, and we cannot wait to come back. But if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to follow us on the latest theme park news and updates, go ahead and hit subscribe. Once again, guys, thank you for helping us find the wonders of magic. Bye.